Hey, if you're watching this video right now, you probably purchased a replacement gauge cluster for the Ford Think neighborhood electric vehicle. That's what this is right here. We want to thank you for your support. And if you didn't buy it and you're just checking out the video, thanks for stopping by. But this video is to show how to install the gauge cluster and show you kind of the features of it as well. If you're interested in purchasing one, we have them on our website, fordthink.org. We also have some manuals and guides on there as well to kind of help you troubleshoot some problems with your Ford Think as well. You can also reach out and look at my buddy Hagen's channel. There's a link in the description below, or you can click one of the annotations around here to see his channel. He's got a lot of great stuff on there as well. We again want to thank you for your support. Hope you enjoy the video, and let's jump right into it. Alrighty, so the first thing you're going to want to do is remove both of your cup holders. There's going to be a little tab at the end, so you're probably going to have to pop that off. Then the next thing, we're going to insert the decal connector, and we're going to start off by taking our decal, our brand new decal, and we've got sort of an adhesive back there. We're going to peel that sheet off, exposing the adhesive underneath. Then you'll just pull the connector out of the bottom there. You'll see the adhesive will be on there, so be careful not to stick your fingers on there or anything else. And then we're going to insert that connector into the dashboard, little hole there. Might be a little bit difficult. You're just going to have to push it in with a little bit of force and just let the decal hang there. Next, we're going to insert the key switch. So the key switch, we're just going to insert the connector into the hole and run the wires through. It should be pretty simple. And run the base in flush to the hole. Then we're going to take our nut and put it into the wire and slide it down to the base of the key switch. And you can see on the inside I'm using my fingers to twist and torque down that nut so that the key switch can be in there nice and firm. So then we're going to plug in the main board. So we've got our J8 and J7A connectors from the cart itself, and we will take our cluster. As you can see here, we've got our J8, J7, we've got our key, we've got our select, and then we also have our add-ons, our light level sensor, and the AC detection plug. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and plug in the J7A and the J8 connector, and we're going to make sure they're nice and firm in there. They'll probably click in whenever they go in far enough. And then that's kind of how they should look. And then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take our wire from our AC detector, if you have that installed, and we're going to plug that into the AC detector port there. It might be a little bit difficult to get in there, get your finger in there. Might have to get your pinky in there just to push the connector in. But then we're going to grab our light level sensor as well, and we are going to plug that in, and that's only if you have the light level sensor. Of course, I'm getting my pinky in there to push the connector in. But then what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and slide everything into the dashboard there, making sure that that cable for the light level sensor is poking out. And of course, we're going to make sure that ribbon cable of the selector is underneath the housing itself. But now that we have access to the back and the inside, we're going to actually go ahead and plug in the key switch. So I've got our key switch connector here, and I'm just going to plug it into that top port, as you can see right there. Then we're going to flip it around and work on the next part. We're going to slot it in there, and we're going to start the attachment of the housing. So I'm going to go ahead and hand tighten and then use a screwdriver to bolt in both sides. Just 2 bolts right now just to get us started, just in case we have to pull it out and adjust any wires. But we're going to go ahead and just lightly tighten those things down, and then we're going to plug in the decal connector. So as you can see on the inside here, I'm taking that ribbon cable with the connector and I'm going to plug it into the back. So here's the initial setup. You must go through this entire process. You cannot turn off the cart during this initial setup, or you could brick the unit. So go all the way through. Even if you mess up when you press next, that's okay. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to tap the white rectangle. You're going to enter your odometer. Then you're going to enter in what the voltage is of full battery. Enter the voltage of what half of your battery, a 50% battery is. and then finally enter the voltage of a mostly depleted battery. Now the X acts like a backspace, and you can press the arrow to move on. Now this is the first time boot process. You'll see the screen will pause for a second, and then the battery will slowly start to rise up and go to the level that your cart is. The screen will turn off because the key is off, so we'll go ahead and switch that into reverse. The logo will show up, and you'll see the reverse symbol show up, as well as hear an audible beep. Then we're going to go ahead and shift over to turf just to see that turf mode works and our drive mode works as well. Next, we're going to stick on the decal. It's been hanging there for a while, so I've gone ahead and bolted the rest of the bolts in, and I am sticking on the decal. Now what I've actually done is I've turned on the cluster to help me align the decal to the thing, and it might take you a couple of tries to get it working properly, but once it lays on, it should stick really well. Just make sure all the bolts are lined up and all the screens are lined up, and then you can peel that protective sheet off. Next, we're going to test the turn signals. As you can see with our new gauge cluster, the lights are so much brighter than the stock LEDs. As you can see here as well, the hazards work too. Next, we're going to add on the light level sensor if this is something that you have. So to turn on the automatic dimming, we're going to hold down the select button, switch it to turf, drive, then turf again, and remove our finger from the button, and that little automatic symbol showed up. So to test, go ahead and cover it up with your hands and see if the screen dims, and there it did. And then we're going to remove our hand from the light level sensor, and the screen should, brighten back up. To turn it off, all you'll have to do is just hold it down again, switch from turf to drive, back to turf, and the icon will turn off. And then you can press the select button, and that will manually change the screen brightness between 3 different levels of brightness. Next, we're going to talk about adding the light level sensor to your cart, attaching it. So it's got its own adhesive pad on the bottom. You're just going to want to peel that backing off, and I decided to stick it to the top of my dashboard, and I'm just running the cable underneath the cup holders. You can place it wherever you want, drill a hole or whatnot to mount it. We tried to design it to where you could potentially drill a hole, so whatever you choose. So if you have the charge detection add-on, if you have it plugged in, what it's going to do is it's actually going to just show a battery charging icon, and the screen will be dim. But if you ever try to turn on the cart while it's plugged in, it will beep and let you know that the cart is still plugged in. Until you unplug it, the cart will go back to its normal setting, and you can adjust the key as needed. So there are different charge detection types. You have a Delta Q charger. So if you have the Delta Q charger, it has an IEC connector on the end of it. This cable is going to go in between your wall outlet, I guess, and your charger cable. And then this is the cable that will go to the cluster. And of course, we also have, for those who added aftermarket chargers like my cart, we have a regular old American plug cart that will go from the wall as well to your charger. And we'll see here in a second what that looks like on my cart. And of course, this other end goes to the cluster. So this is sort of an example of a potential wiring solution. What I did was I had my connector here. I ran the cable down. I attached my charge detect to that cable, and I attached my charger to the other end of the charge detect, and that little hole goes up into my charger battery case. So this is how you do your factory reset. So you're going to switch from reverse to turf to off while you're holding down the select button, and 99s will show up, and the little wrench icon is also going to start flashing. Then what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to switch off your master switch, and after you switch it off, you can switch it back on, and it will go back up to the original boot up screen. Again, you do not want to turn off your cart during this process, but you can just go ahead and type everything in as you did previously. And again, it will do the same setup where it raises the battery level and turns off because the key's off. So now we can switch it on. We'll see the logo and it will pop up as normal. Okay, as we close up this video, I'm going to talk real quick about the speedometer and odometer. It's pretty self-explanatory. The module will tell you the miles per hour and the miles traveled in minimum of tenths of a mile, but it does this using GPS, and the reason why we chose GPS is because it allows you to determine speed data, and we don't have to do any calibration based on how big your wheels are. So it just made it a lot easier to make it plug and play. Now, the flip side of that is that if you're around a bunch of trees, if you're under a metal roof, if you're around a bunch of buildings or going under bridges, there is a chance that your GPS signal might cut out. And that's okay, that's just the way GPS works. And so what we've done is we've added a little icon there, the little dish satellite looking icon on the right. When it's red, it either has no signal or very poor signal, and you won't see any speed or odometer data. And if it goes yellow or green, you have somewhat good and really good satellite data, GPS data coming to the cluster, and the cart should update the speed and odometer data accordingly. Just the way GPS works, it can be a little finicky again if you're around trees or large buildings, so don't be surprised if it does go to red and then go back to yellow and green. Satellites can be kind of finicky, but that's just the way it works. So if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to support@fordthink.org, or you can leave a comment on this video and we'll try to answer them as much as possible. If you need any new parts or any data on your cart, please feel free to reach out or just go to our website at fordthink.org. We've got a couple of parts and we've got plenty of manuals and guides to help you work on your Ford Think. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and we'll hope to see you in the next one. Thanks.